Hi, good morning. Kind of missing the tea this morning, but all right. So more so for James, since like Matumti and Lost Light have been going for so long, what's like the biggest kind of story hurdles you've had to jump over? Like, is there any time you got writer's block or like, what do I do here? And how did you get over it?
I mean, one of the luxuries of planning things well in advance is that you've got the main storyline already mapped out. So there's not many opportunities when you're really stumped as to where to go next. I mean, I've spoken before about how the unexpected twist in that story, and that was a Hasbro. That was sort of by dint of Hasbro's intervention, was Megatron defecting and becoming an Autobot. And trying to incorporate that into the storyline.
Wow, it's a new generation now.
And obviously you can't, the amount of heavy lifting you need to do to make that even vaguely, even accepting the whole sort of in-universe fiction thing, where if you look at Marvel, there's villains becoming anti-heroes all the time. But Megatron is so sort of emphatically a villain.
I think just getting the Autobots to believe he was actually on the level with that would be the heaviest lift of all.
Absolutely. So it's like sort of this black hole of story logic, really, which you've got to sort of fight against that gravity and try and explain why people might countenance that even for a second. So that was and in the end that bent the shape of the story, but in a way I think which in hindsight was for the best, really. Other stuff.
That was their brief to do that?
We were doing
that was Hasbro's.
We were doing it was the 30th anniversary, and they were releasing a range of toys, and they wanted a comic tie-in. Well, they wanted the comics to be packaged with the toys, 16 issues. So it's the opposite of your Rebirth problem, really. Because
too many.
This is it. I mean, a 16-part story. You need to have something really meaty to justify that many issues. And one of those things by the end of that story was Megatron's Defection. It came about, there was just a brainstorming session, and it really was as inelegant and brutal as just people throwing sort of like clickbaity things, really. And one of them was Megatron becomes an Autobot, which turns out is really easy to write down on a whiteboard.
Yeah.
It's quite difficult to...
It's simple.
Yeah.
Now, was it harder to like give him a motivation to do that, or to actually get the Autobots to believe he had truly done it? Because to me, the Autobot end of it would be like the really hard part.
So I sort of had my cake and eat and ate it in the way. First of all, it's another link to your Mordorn and Orion Pax, because we went back however many million years and saw the two of them first meet.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't count.
So Pax and Megatron, at the time, Megatron was an idealist. He was a miner.
Right.
He believed in non-violent direct action. He was a polemicist, and Orion, who was a cop essentially, in that continuity. There was a kindred spirit, really. They're both, in fact, Pax, if anything, was more on the sort of the light fascism side, really, in terms of order and control, and Megatron was the opposite. And so we had to go back, like you did, to look at the origins of how of the two of them, to explain a little bit about how Megatron went off that path and resorted to sort of fascist ideology. So and then in the end, spoiler alert to those who don't read Lost Light, the central characters that we follow, the sort of that authorial privilege, you pick a handful and you see what they're doing. Turns out that essentially everyone else in the background was far less enamored of Megatron being on their ship, and there was a mutiny. So they kicked him off in the end.
Wow, mutinies.
Yeah. I'll give you the issues. I'm sure you can. You love.
I know. I'm sure I can dig it. But this is what you do, especially when you have to do a comic, because comics are much more detailed. The scenes are more detailed. You get those panels with like 150 words, in each balloon, and it's
you do know my work.
I have, when I write scripts where the dialogue is like indented on both sides, so it's like that, and I write a line, and it auto drops down, and I'm on the second line, and when it auto drops down to that third line, a little alarm in the back of my head is going off saying this line is about to get too long. Because you read those things out loud, it's like every line. You look at the transcript of the Avengers. Yes, there'd be some big speeches, but it's that dialogue is so terse and sharp
Yeah.
and quick, and when you see it on the page, you really realize it.
Wow.
I don't know how we got on that, I just.
That's good. I like
I
that.
hijacked
I like
the
that. No, I
question.
like
That was
that.
a fun tangent.
But you can get much more into playing out the scenes. We have to it's like you get into the
Oh, yeah.
scene just when it's getting interesting, you get out right before it gets
Yeah,
boring.
yeah,
you
no,
know.
it's a different
Yeah.
set of considerations.